And we've been talking, when the phase of the company and where you are today, it's exciting because you're helping so many people from families to schools and making such a difference. It feels great, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's great. We're continuing to sort of add more and more teachers to FabuLingua's teacher dashboard. A lot of accounts are being created. Hearing from teachers all over the country, all over the world, in fact, English-speaking countries right now that are helping kids learn Spanish. So Canada, UK, Australia, even India, Jamaica. Believe it or not, there's an international school down there that's using FabuLingua as well for sort of pre-K through elementary school kids. So, as we head towards the end of the school year, finding that teachers are excited to be able to communicate to parents and families of their students that FabuLingua would be a really useful tool for them to use over the summer to sort of keep them sharp. And from a kid's perspective, it's playing a game, it's reading stories, so it's fun. So um, we think that this is sort of the beginning of a real sort of ramp up in awareness of the kind of value that we're bringing and sort of a unique way to learn a second language.
And that's 100%. And I don't think we were talking about the international perspective in any podcast where,
Yeah.
wow, now you're not just, serving kids in the United States, you're serving kids around the world and families. And
Yeah.
it's great to see schools, which I don't know if it was in your plan to go the international route that quickly.
Yeah. Well, I think that first of all, you can thank technology, software. You can thank the proliferation of mobile devices and the platforms that give us the opportunity to connect with consumers, customers all over the world. But secondly, when you think about language learning, right? Here in the United States, primarily English-speaking country, the rest of the world is trying to learn English at a young age. In fact, of the 2 billion language learners globally, around 70% of them are actually learning English. So, from FabuLingua's perspective, we see the United States market as an opportunity, one, to get our product, our game, our platform, our user experience really sharpened and honed in. And then we will be able to move to other languages, and teaching English as a second language in international markets is absolutely a critical part of our growth plan. In fact, I would say that, in the long term, 70% of our business is going to be outside of the United States.
Well, and that's definitely true. Once you're expanding these other languages and all these different things, I just wouldn't have thought in these conversations we'll be talking about schools in other countries that are,
Sure.
that are teaching Spanish that are English speaking or speak multiple languages, because that's the other thing. And bilingual or more than two to three languages happens a lot more all over the world than it does in the United States, for
Yeah,
sure.
absolutely, absolutely, and they have the same challenges that teachers in pre-K and elementary school have here in the United States, which is a lack of engaging, effective content and curriculum that will get their students not only learning more efficaciously, but also just having more fun and being more engaged and interested in learning as well, right? I think whatever your views are on Elon Musk, he said something really interesting a couple of years ago, which is he said, I think that the future of learning should try to be as much like a game as possible, because you learn so much through games and through game experience and through progressing through a game. And also, it's something that keeps and grabs your attention and engages you in the learning process, keeps you curious about what's next.
That what's next is so important. So let's talk about Summer Slide. We talked a little bit about last time, really to encourage this continued the summer that kids are continuing to use FabuLingua in the summer, right?
Yeah, yeah, and we have a cool announcement that is that we're going to be making in the next week or so, which is that for any teachers that create a FabuLingua teacher dashboard account, and then sort of roster their kids and create profiles in sort of the FabuLingua teacher dashboard account. we're going to give them the opportunity to share Fabulingua with all of their families and give them 3 months free over the summer, unlimited access to Fabulingua, so that these not only these teachers can get the benefit of their kids, practicing more over the summer, so they come back sharp, but also the parents and the kids themselves will be using Fabulingua for free, which I think is a super exciting way to sort of begin to create more and more awareness of the good things we're doing.
I think that's exciting because that's something where, continue this whole thing throughout the summer,
Yeah.
make this, and I think teachers, as a former teacher myself, I know how important it is which kids had something that involved academics in the summer. Something they had a different, the beginning of the school year, they were hitting on all cylinders versus most of the kids from that summer slide. It takes a month for teachers to get them back going. So you want that special edge, use Fabulingua in the summer because
and so teachers are telling us that parents are asking for, what can we be doing over the summer to sort of continue to learn. And so giving these families that are associated with the Fabulingua teacher dashboard 3 free months to use Fabulingua unlimited over the summer, I think is great value and a great way for these teachers to be able to provide a good answer to that particular question, and help these families and in turn help themselves.
And you're dedicated. What the mission that you and Leslie are bringing to the table is you're dedicated for kids to learn a second language and to learn multiple languages and to really make them successful in life. And I think that this is the thing that more companies like yourself, Mark, are developed in the edutainment department. The more education is going to improve and become better and better in the 21st century. I think that that's a missing component. There's a podcast I do called Vote for the Other Guy, where we only are voting for kids. So the choices of what people make decisions on in education have to be for children first. It's children first centered in your program. And that's key. Yeah.
So at Fabulingua, fundamentally, we believe that learning a new language opens doors in life. And so our mission at Fabulingua is to give every child the unique advantage of learning a new language effectively. And so that is everything that drives us, and everything when we're thinking about what feature to include here or what to do there. It's about the effectiveness of learning, and it's about engaging the child so that they can learn. And ultimately, it's about opening doors for these kids, so that as they progress through life, they've got the social, the academic, and even the economic opportunity that comes from learning a second language.
And learning a second language, especially, is going to give you a lot of open doors, especially parents. You're seeing why learn Spanish. Well, we all know Latinx, what's coming. The percentage of Latino families in the United States is going to explode. I just had an interview with Luis Miranda Jr., who's Manuel Lin Miranda's dad. And he talked about that whole surge and how that's going to be a very big mission in education, and everything is the Latin families that are coming to the United States, and how many.
Yeah, I think, so I think here's an interesting stat for you. Oftentimes I'll hear, oh, we live in the United States, we speak English, why do I need to learn a second language? And I think that's a little bit short-sighted, and also probably not really the most accurate depiction of what our country, our nation as a whole thinks. For example, Duolingo, which of course teaches language to adults, they're focused on the adult market. They have almost 130 million users in the United States. That's about a third of our population. Now, they are learning everything from Spanish to English to Italian to French to Russian. But the point is, there is a really significant level of interest and demand here in the United States in learning a second language, provided you can reduce the friction between the desire or demand to learn that second language and really the effective outcome of learning it. And what Duolingo have done to their credit is that they've used technology, software, gamification to reduce that friction, such that if someone like you or me says, you know what, I'd love to learn Italian, instead of just going, but that's going to be so hard, I'm going to have to go take classes, I'm going to do this, whatever. They've essentially reduced that friction, said, actually, no, I'm going to download this app, I'm going to do it for 5 minutes a day or so, and I'm going to really make some progress, and it's going to be fun. That is how you reduce the friction to a fundamental demand. And the fundamental demand, there is not a parent in the United States or globally that when they're looking at their 1 or 2 or 3-year-old didn't say, whoa, wouldn't it be amazing if they also spoke Mandarin or Italian or German, or, you know, my grandmother is from Sweden. Wouldn't it be amazing if they also spoke Sweden? But, and so I think we have this fundamental demand, but I think where we've been sort of blocked psychologically is that we've always thought that there's so much friction in between a demand and sort of the effective outcome we were looking for. And so we're reducing that friction between the desire, demand to learn a language and the positive outcome with technology, with software, with game design, specifically targeted for young kids. That's what Fabulingua does. And at an adult level, that's what Duolingo has been doing effectively.
You know, see what I think is so cool about this is you're hitting all the cylinders in this interview. The fact is that we always thought it was hard to learn a second language because it's flashcards, it's memorization, it's learning English, like learning the English rules versus whatever that language rule is, and you know, conjugation of verbs, all the stuff that I couldn't stand learning Spanish, right?
Exactly.
Okay, and that you're ending that by going early childhood. You're hitting it before the issue comes and the block comes when you go into like 4th or 5th grade and you're like, I got to go to my first class and learn flashcards of different things. Or I only was introduced this in songs in 2nd and 3rd grade. You're disrupting the industry in the fact that kids can learn much earlier so that the next generation is going to be far better in learning multiple languages than we were. You're catching it before Duolingo. That's what you're doing.
Yeah, and so what we're doing is by catching it earlier, that's when children's brains are naturally wiring to new language input. So it's much easier for them to quote unquote acquire, whether later in life you have to maybe use more traditional techniques to quote unquote learn. There's a difference between acquiring and learning. Your brain is just more susceptible to acquire at a younger age, and at a later age, we need to do more things to help us quote unquote learn. But the critical part of exposing these kids and helping them acquire a language at a young age is that they develop sort of more they're going to develop a much more natural accent. Under the age of 10, you can develop a pretty natural accent. 2, and I think this is critical, they develop sort of a confidence and curiosity about foreign languages that comes very natural to them that if we haven't learned at an early age, lack. We find it a bit more intimidating. We find it more challenging. Whereas these young kids who have been exposed from the ages of 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, by the time they get to perhaps a more formal setting where the language they're taught, they've always been exposed. They have some confidence. They understand things. So they go into that class not dreading it, but with some confidence and curiosity.
Exactly. And then we all know the benefits. So it's exciting times. You'll end up taking this to the next level, and I know it's just happening. So where can people go download? They could go again to fabulingua.com and check out information.
Sure.
You go to fabulingua.com / the teacher. Is it teacher dashboard for teachers?
Well, yeah, /teachers. So you can come to our website, fabulingua.com, correct? You can learn all about how the game works. You can learn about our sort of patented method for second language acquisition for kids. And you can get really nerdy if you want. My co-founder is amazing content in there about getting nerdy. At the same time, you can also find a way to download the app if you're parent or family from the website. We have sort of a QR code that pops up. And if you're a teacher, that's the place to go set up a teacher account. Again, there's also lots of information about what the teacher dashboard offers, the convenience, the function, et cetera, and how it works. And then there's also a really simple way for you to set up an account to roster your kids, and then soon to be able to offer your families sort of free access over the summer for 3 months.
All right. Appreciate it, Mark. Thanks again. Download it again. Just go right to the App Store, Fabulingua. You can download the app today at the apps, Google Play or App Store or Apple. All right. Take care, man. Appreciate it. You're listening and watching the Neil Haley Show.